Hi, and welcome to the 2021 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you so much for joining me once again. And today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Continue to share this message. It's very important as we get closer and closer, deeper and deeper into this depression, that you are prepared, you are informed, and you're ready to take action in your communities and in townships and neighborhoods. Thank you so much for listening. Now, today we want to talk about some of the actions about the Federal Reserve briefly here, and as well as this upcoming election swing in Georgia. So first of all, I want to say that the Federal Reserve Bank, they commit to continue to keep buying bonds until the economy gets back to quote unquote full employment. Right now, the unemployment rate is hovering still around 9 and 10% in this economy, but we know the unemployment rate is much higher than the official Bureau of Labor Statistics reported. We still have 60 million people unemployed, and we have inflation that is officially around 2%, but we know that it's much higher than that because of the shortage of supply of food and little services that we buy every day. So the Federal Reserve also voted, as expected, to hold short-term borrowing rates near zero. So we have a low interest rate environment that's going to continue to pose issue. We also have companies that are realizing that our corporate companies and businesses, as well as the government, has realizing that they can save money instead of leasing all of these different office buildings and stuff. They just want to have everybody work at home. But how can that continue? The work from home trend, yes, it will continue, but is it sustainable for employees' well-being, for employees' health, sanity? Everything is not. Everything can be accessed remotely, but there's something about being at the office among other colleagues and sharing the database, sharing resources that creates a better morale. So how long can these employees continue to work from home? More than over a year, 2 years, 5 years? And not feel that morale boost and get that morale boost. That creates a lot of depression. So now, while the pace of at least 120 billion a month in purchases will continue by the Fed did not, as some investors were expecting, extend the duration of the bonds. So the Federal Reserve votes to leave interest rates unchanged and projects zero rates through 2023. Okay, that's 2 years from now. That's crazy. So they know that they cannot raise rates, or this whole house of cards economy comes crashing down. And they said that they are buying $120 billion of bonds each month from the banks. That tell you that the banks are still in crisis. So if you have money in the bank, that's fine, but try to keep the minimum. Try to just have enough to pay your bills and take the rest out, because once the system crashes, that means that the ATMs and other things are not going to be working. They're already limiting the amount of people who can come in these banks now because of the whole thing that's going on with the sickness. So we are in a situation where the banks are in crisis and the businesses are in crisis because they're switching the whole economy around. So that's why I predicted, and it has become true, that deflationary pressures will happen first on this economy. The Federal Reserve Bank has been trying to incite inflation or instigate inflation by printing up stimulus package after stimulus package and having the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP loans and all of that. But you must understand that the reason why there hasn't been hyperinflation as many economists have predicted is because the money velocity, that's the speed at which the money is moving through the economy, changing hands in the economy at the consumer level, at the ground level, has not been happening. And the reason why that's not been happening is because people have gotten smart. They realize that they need to save money. Even though they're not gaining any interest in any high yield savings account or anything like that, because interest rates are so low, they still are saving money because they know they got to pay bills and do things because they don't know whether or not they're going to have a job tomorrow or whatever, because of the high rate of unemployment that we have in this country right now. And so as a result of the money velocity not exchanging hands, it's only exchanging hands at the top, meaning that the top CEOs, the top things are using that money, that stimulus money, to buy back shares and to put in their pockets and to create bonuses for their pockets and stuff and to cut costs. It's not coming to the local people, the regular people, workers and stuff of that nature. So this is what's going to be different from the 2008 financial crisis, is that everything is in a bubble. The Federal Reserve is buying up everything in sight. They're buying bonds, they're buying businesses. Remember now, when they give these loans to small businesses, loans have to be paid back. So if these companies, if we manage to get out of this pandemic, out of the sickness and everything in the next 2 years, in 2023, 2024, guess what? If they cannot pay back these loans, the Federal Reserve Bank and the government will step in and take over the remaining amount of small businesses that haven't closed already. Because right now, 60% of small businesses say they do not plan to reopen, even with the loans and everything that's given. So this has been the death of small businesses in America, the death of ingenuity. Working from home has become the norm, but that does not solve all the problems that we're going to be seeing in this economy. Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman, emphasized that this is outcome-based policies. That means that if progress slows toward achieving those outcomes, the Fed could step up its asset purchases, which have swelled its balance sheet to $7.3 trillion. The Fed would also commit to keeping interest rates anchored near zero for a period of time. But listen, how long can they continue to buy this? How long can they continue to make the stimulus packages? They cannot, because the government is broke. And the rich people, the super rich type of upper 1%, they're not going to be giving any taxes. They're not paying taxes to the government. So they're not giving any money to help keep this thing afloat. That's what is going to break the system. Not only that, there's massive greed in the system too. A lot of people in the system in the top upper 1% are stealing money that they're not talking about in the media. And that's also offsetting the cost of the system. And so, listen, we have a very perfect storm coming. It's already here, but they're going to slowly bubble to us. And these markets are going to go down. The stock market is going to be crashing. Probably sometime toward the end of this year. They're going to keep it afloat until October, November of this year, 2021. And then it's just going to crash because they can't afford to keep purchasing $120 billion a month in bonds and expect things to get back, because we're never getting back to full employment now, not in this new economy, digital economy, cashless economy anyway. So that's a pipe dream. So get ready for that as well. Matter of fact, they're saying that the Federal Reserve Bank is saying that they expect the GDP to grow by 4.2% next year. That's not a lot, and they expect a 5% unemployment rate. So folks, they expect the unemployment rate to go down from 9% to 5%. I don't see that happening. Also, they expect the 2021 real GDP to go to 4.2% growth. That's still not a lot of growth. Anything over 3% of growth is considered decent, but I don't think that's going to happen either, because you have to remember GDP, gross domestic product, is based on input and output and production, and we have neither of those right now. And other countries are well ahead of us, like China, Singapore, Russia, India, you name it. They are producing more than us, and they are having lower unemployment rate, and they have a lower debt rate. With $28 trillion of debt, we just are not in a position to be sustainable. So continue to look forward to that. Now, the other thing is the stimulus checks. President Trump has demanded $2,000 stimulus checks, which I have to agree with him on that. We should be getting more instead of $600 stimulus checks, especially since everybody else has been getting all the money. They've been giving $25 billion to the airlines, $20 billion to retail, all of these stores. Everybody's got a pan in the pot. Why not give more helicopter money to the American citizens? Listen, before the dollar becomes worthless, yes, I want you to just print it up. Just give me everything that I'm entitled to. $2,000. Why not make it $10,000? You know what I'm saying? So eventually they're going to get to that, but that's how you know the economy's really failed, that everything is really going to crap, that we're really in a depression, a mega depression. But in the meantime, yes, I do agree that it should be extended. Now, whether or not they do that or not, probably not. But that depends on the Georgia race. If the Georgia race turns out where the Republicans hold on to Georgia and they win Georgia on this coming Thursday or something like that, then that means that that they will pass the $1,200 stimulus check. Mitch McConnell will. If the Republicans lose Georgia, then they won't pass it, and they won't pass it until after April 15th, tax day. And because that way the $600 checks will have been wore off, and the taxes will have tax return. Most people have started filing their taxes, and that would have been wore off too as well. So that's the plan. So continue to prepare, continue to stack coins, continue to stack gold, silver, medicine, food, water, crypto, supplies, and share with your neighbors as well. If they're apt, or if the internet kind of thing, if they're still zombie land and thinking that everything is okay, then that's fine. But you just do the best you can and keep up. Don't share your plans and too much with everybody else. Keep OPSEC in mind that you don't. Some people you can tell, some people you can't tell, because they don't really know what's going on. They probably would tell everybody and harm you anyway. So just be careful. Have a blessed day. I'll talk to you very soon.